How to Speak English FLUENTLY and Confidently. The Story of Mr. Rajesh Kumar. Have you ever felt it's too late to achieve your dreams? Meet Rajesh Kumar, an 85-year-old Indian man who defied the odds. He grew up in a small village with no access to education in English. Yet, today he not only speaks English fluently, but also lives a life filled with love, laughter, and the language that once seemed impossible to learn. His story will show you how dedication, creativity, and passion can help you improve your English-speaking skills at any age. Chapter 1. A Humble Beginning, a Dream to Speak English. Rajesh Kumar was born in a small, dusty village. The streets were quiet, the air heavy with heat. Life was simple but challenging, with little room for dreams. Yet, in the corner of his heart, Rajesh carried a secret ambition, a desire to learn English. Rajesh's first encounter with English was mysterious. He found an old, tattered book in the village market. The words looked strange and powerful, like a hidden code. What do these letters mean? He wondered. The villagers often spoke of English as a language of the elite. It opens doors to a new world, they said. For Rajesh, it wasn't just about opportunity. It was about unlocking the mystery of the words he couldn't understand. Rajesh's family struggled to make ends meet. Education was a luxury they couldn't afford. He worked long hours in the fields, his hands rough from labor. But in the evenings, he'd watch travelers passing through the village, speaking English. Their words flowed like music, confident, fluent, and effortless. How can I learn to speak like them? He asked himself. It seemed impossible. No teachers, no books, no resources. Just the burning desire to speak English fluently. One day, Rajesh heard a story that gave him hope. An old man in a nearby village had taught himself English using nothing but a dictionary. The tale felt like a puzzle waiting to be solved. Rajesh decided he would find a way, no matter how hard it seemed. Even without a teacher, I can learn, he thought. This determination became his secret weapon. Late one evening, while exploring his grandfather's attic, Rajesh discovered something extraordinary. A faded notebook filled with strange markings. Could this be English? He whispered. The pages were fragile, the ink smudged, but the letters glimmered with possibility. He traced the words with his fingers, feeling a spark of hope. This is my first step to speaking fluently, he declared. Rajesh knew he couldn't let anyone see him practicing. In the village, people mocked those who dreamed too big. He practiced secretly, whispering words under his breath. Hello. How are you? My name is Rajesh, he repeated, even though the pronunciation felt strange. At night, under the flickering light of a kerosene lamp, he copied words from the notebook. Each letter was like solving a riddle, a small step closer to English fluency. One day, while practicing near the river, he overheard two British travelers. Their voices were clear and commanding. Rajesh froze, heart pounding, as he listened to their conversation. For the first time, He understood a single word, water. It was like finding treasure. If I understood one word, I can learn more, he thought. The thrill of understanding even a small piece of English drove him forward. Rajesh's efforts didn't go unnoticed. An elderly man named Amir, who worked as a translator in the city, visited the village occasionally. Amir noticed Rajesh mumbling English phrases and approached him. "You want to learn English?" Amir asked, his voice calm but curious. Rajesh hesitated but nodded. Amir smiled. "Start with small steps. Practice every day. Fluency comes from persistence." Rajesh felt like he had uncovered a secret. Amir shared a few phrases and explained their meanings. For the first time, Rajesh had guidance, even if it was brief. Not everyone in the village supported Rajesh's dream. Some laughed, saying, "Why learn English? It's useless for farmers." Their words stung, but Rajesh held onto his vision. He whispered to himself at night, "I will speak English fluently one day." The more they doubted him, the harder he worked. Rajesh began using English wherever he could. He greeted travelers with "good morning" and tried to barter in broken phrases. Though his sentences were awkward, the villagers began noticing his efforts. "What are you trying to say?" they'd ask, half mocking, half curious. But Rajesh didn't care. Every attempt brought him closer to fluency. One fateful evening, Rajesh overheard a traveler reading aloud from a book. The words painted pictures in his mind, stories of adventure, courage, and distant lands. Rajesh realized that English wasn't just a language. It was a tool for storytelling, for connecting with others. "If I can learn this, I can share my story," he thought. The dream of speaking English confidently and fluently burned brighter than ever. As the chapter of Rajesh's humble beginning ends, his journey is far from over. Each struggle, each whispered word, brings him closer to his dream. His story is a testament to perseverance, proving that no obstacle is too great when the goal is clear. In the next chapter, Rajesh will take his first big steps toward fluency, uncovering methods that anyone, young or old, can use to improve their English speaking skills. Chapter 2: 50 years later, starting the journey. The world had changed in 50 years, but Rajesh Kumar's dream to speak English fluently had never faded. He was now 50 years old, with a family to support and responsibilities that left little time for personal ambitions. Yet, deep in his heart, the passion for learning English remained alive, waiting for the right moment to reignite. One day, while cleaning the family attic, Rajesh stumbled upon something extraordinary, a dusty, forgotten book titled English for Beginners. Its pages were brittle, its words faint, but it felt like a treasure map. He held the book in his hands, feeling its weight and significance. "This is my chance to start," he whispered. The mysterious book became his secret weapon in his quest to speak English confidently. Rajesh opened the book with trembling hands, its pages revealing simple phrases. "Hello, good morning, how are you?" Though basic, these words felt like pieces of a puzzle he had longed to solve. I will practice every day, he resolved. He started with just 5 words daily, repeating them until they felt familiar. Practice is the key to fluency, he reminded himself. Rajesh couldn't let anyone know about his new journey. Late at night, when the house was quiet, he lit a small oil lamp and sat at his wooden desk. The faint light cast long shadows, adding mystery to his secret mission. He whispered words softly to avoid waking his family. Good evening. My name is Rajesh Kumar. Each sentence brought him closer to his dream of speaking English fluently. One night, as he practiced, a sound startled him, a faint whisper from the book. It wasn't real, of course, but Rajesh felt as if the words were calling to him, urging him to try harder. Is this my mind playing tricks? He thought. Suspense filled the air, but he pressed on. The harder he worked, the more the language began to flow naturally. Rajesh knew he needed a plan to stay consistent. He divided his day into small pockets of practice. Morning. Memorize 5 new words while sipping chai. Afternoon. Repeat phrases while working in the fields. Evening. Practice sentences with his reflection in the mirror. Small steps lead to big success, he reminded himself. His routine became a powerful tool to improve English speaking skills. Rajesh's confidence grew, but so did the challenges. One afternoon, his youngest son caught him practicing. Why are you talking to yourself, father? He asked, puzzled. Rajesh hesitated, then replied, I am learning something new. It's never too late. The boy giggled and walked away, leaving Rajesh with a mix of embarrassment and determination. Even if others laugh, I will continue, he thought. His goal to speak English confidently and fluently was too important to abandon. As weeks turned into months, Rajesh explored creative ways to learn. He borrowed old English newspapers from a nearby shop and read headlines aloud. At first, the words felt heavy on his tongue, but with practice, they became smoother. He also tuned into a crackly radio station that played English news. Though he understood only fragments, he repeated what he could, sharpening his pronunciation. Listening improves fluency faster than you think, he realized. One day, while listening to a foreign movie at a neighbor's house, Rajesh discovered a game-changing technique, shadowing. He mimicked the actors' dialogues, repeating their lines as they spoke. Though his words lagged behind, he felt a surge of excitement. This is how I will learn to speak naturally, he decided. Shadowing became his favorite exercise to improve English speaking fluency. While visiting the market one evening, Rajesh overheard a foreign tourist struggling to communicate. Summoning his courage, Rajesh approached and said, "Can I help you?" The tourist smiled, and they exchanged a few simple sentences. For the first time, Rajesh used his English in real life. The encounter filled him with pride and mystery. I can actually do this, he thought. Rajesh started using English words in his daily life, mixing them with his native language. At first, people found it strange, but Rajesh didn't care. Every effort brought him closer to his dream. Fluency is about trying, not perfection, he reminded himself. He practiced greetings with strangers, and even taught his children a few phrases. One evening, while practicing a speech from his book, Rajesh realized something extraordinary. The words no longer felt foreign. They felt like his own. "I am speaking English," he exclaimed, his voice trembling with joy. It was a small step, but a monumental moment in his journey to speak English fluently. Rajesh's journey had officially begun. Every word he spoke, every phrase he learned, brought him closer to his ultimate goal. His determination proved that it's never too late to start learning English. In the next chapter, Rajesh will face new challenges and discover innovative tools that will transform his learning process. Stay tuned as his inspiring journey unfolds. If Rajesh can do it, so can you. Chapter 3, Daily Practice, the Key to Fluency. Rajesh Kumar's journey to speak English fluently was now in full swing. Each day felt like a new chapter, filled with determination and mystery. He knew that daily practice was his secret weapon, a path to unlocking the power of English and transforming his life. Every morning, Rajesh began his day with English. He sat on the porch, a notebook in one hand and a cup of chai in the other. Birds chirped around him, but his focus was sharp. "Today, I will learn 5 new phrases," he told himself. His notebook became his most trusted companion, holding sentences like treasures waiting to be discovered. Starting the day with practice builds confidence and fluency, he reminded himself. While working in the fields, Rajesh turned his tasks into learning opportunities. He whispered English words while planting seeds. "The sky is blue, the clouds are white. The grass is green, the sun is bright." He repeated these sentences until they rolled off his tongue effortlessly. "The fields are my classroom," he thought with a smile. With every whispered phrase, he inched closer to improving English speaking skills. One afternoon, while walking back from the market, Rajesh spotted a group of travelers. They spoke quickly in English, their voices like a river of unfamiliar sounds. Rajesh felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Should he approach them? Could he handle a conversation? He took a deep breath and stepped closer. "Excuse me," he said cautiously. "Can you help me understand this word?" The travelers looked surprised but kind. They explained the word and smiled. Rajesh felt his confidence soar. Every conversation is a chance to grow, he realized. This suspenseful moment became a turning point in his practice. At night, Rajesh practiced in front of a cracked mirror in his bedroom. The dim lamp lighted his face as he spoke. "Hello, my name is Rajesh Kumar. I am learning English to improve my life." He watched his lips move, adjusting his pronunciation. The mirror reflected not just his image, but his determination. Speaking to yourself improves fluency naturally, he thought. It was a private, powerful exercise to speak English confidently. Rajesh discovered tongue twisters in his book, strange, tricky phrases that seemed impossible to say. Words like "she sells seashells by the seashore" felt like riddles. But he practiced tirelessly, enjoying the challenge. Each successful attempt felt like unlocking a secret. Tongue twisters sharpen pronunciation, he said, smiling. These exercises brought a sense of mystery and fun to his daily routine. One day, while exploring an old storage room, Rajesh found a dusty, forgotten radio. He cleaned it carefully and tuned into a crackly English news channel. The announcer's voice was fast and clear, like a riddle he wanted to solve. He repeated the words he heard. "Today is sunny. The economy is improving." The suspense of understanding each sentence motivated him. Listening daily helped him speak English naturally by mimicking real-life speech patterns. Rajesh decided to test his skills in a new way. At the local market, he approached a vendor and asked, "How much for this fruit?" Though his accent was thick, the vendor understood. Rajesh felt a thrill of success. Real-life practice improves fluency faster, he thought. He started using English phrases with strangers, turning everyday moments into learning experiences. While visiting a neighbor, Rajesh overheard their television playing an English movie. The dialogue was fast, but he tried to repeat it under his breath. "Where are you going?" "I am going to the market." He felt like an actor rehearsing lines, his voice syncing with the characters. Shadowing became his favorite way to practice. This is how to improve speaking fluency naturally, he realized. Rajesh's children noticed his growing skills and joined his practice sessions. They asked him to teach them basic phrases. "How are you?" "I am fine, thank you." Teaching others boosted his confidence. He felt like a mentor, and his family's support added joy to his journey. "Together, we will all learn English," he declared. One evening, while practicing, Rajesh realized something remarkable. The sentences he once struggled with now flowed naturally. Words that felt foreign now felt like a part of him. He stood in front of the mirror and said, "I am speaking English." His reflections smiled back, a silent acknowledgement of his progress. Daily practice had transformed Rajesh's journey. The simple act of repeating phrases, listening, and shadowing brought him closer to fluency. Each day was a new adventure, filled with suspense and breakthroughs. In the next chapter, Rajesh will explore advanced techniques and tools, proving that with persistence, anyone can learn to speak English fluently. If Rajesh can do it, so can you. Keep practicing. Chapter 4, Love Across Borders, Meeting Margaret. Rajesh Kumar's journey to speak English fluently took an unexpected turn when love entered his life. It wasn't just a love for language anymore. It was a connection that transcended barriers. This chapter of his life brought mystery, suspense, and a deeper reason to master English. The village was alive with color and excitement. A cultural festival brought people from around the world, including tourists who spoke English. Rajesh, now more confident in his skills, decided to attend. As he walked through the crowded streets, he heard a soft, melodic voice say, "Excuse me, can you help me?" Turning around, he saw a woman with silver hair and kind eyes, Margaret, a visitor from England. His heart raced. "This is my chance to speak English," he thought. Margaret extended her hand and smiled warmly. "I'm lost. Can you tell me where the temple is?" she asked. Rajesh's hands trembled slightly, but he managed to reply, "Yes, I can help you." His accent was thick, but his words were clear. Margaret listened carefully, nodding with encouragement. The simple exchange felt like solving a riddle, one that brought him closer to speaking English fluently and confidently. Rajesh offered to walk Margaret to the temple. Along the way, they talked, their sentences forming a bridge between two worlds. Margaret asked about the village, and Rajesh answered in English as best as he could. "I am learning English," he said proudly. "That's wonderful." "You're doing very well," she replied. Her words felt like music, boosting his confidence. Every step of their walk became a lesson in fluency. As they reached the temple, Margaret paused under a giant banyan tree. She turned to Rajesh and said, "Your English is good, but you can improve." Rajesh's heart skipped a beat. Was she going to teach him? Margaret pulled out a small notebook and wrote down a few phrases. "Practice these every day," she said, handing it to him. The notebook felt like a mysterious treasure, a tool to unlock even greater fluency. Margaret stayed in the village for a week, and every day she met Rajesh to talk. She corrected his grammar gently, taught him new words, and encouraged him to speak freely. "Don't be afraid of mistakes," she said. "Fluency comes from trying." Rajesh hung on to every word she said. It wasn't just English he was learning. He was learning to connect with someone from a completely different world. The week flew by, and Margaret had to leave. On her last evening, she handed Rajesh a small gift, a dictionary. "This will help you keep learning," she said. Rajesh felt a pang of sadness, but also determination. "I will write to you in English," he promised. Margaret smiled and said, "I will wait for your letters." As she boarded the bus, Rajesh clutched the dictionary tightly, vowing to use it to speak English fluently and confidently. Rajesh began writing letters to Margaret in simple English. Each letter was an exercise in fluency, filled with new words and phrases he learned. "Dear Margaret, the village is beautiful this time of year. I am practicing English every day as you said." Margaret's replies were kind and encouraging, each one pushing Rajesh to improve. "Your English is getting better," she wrote. The letters became a lifeline, a mysterious connection that kept Rajesh motivated. Through his letters, Rajesh learned not just English, but also the art of expressing himself. He wrote about his daily life, his dreams, and his struggles. Margaret's replies were filled with support and advice. "Describe your day in English," she suggested. Rajesh took her advice, turning every moment into an opportunity to practice. Love gives purpose to learning, he realized. Months later, Margaret returned to the village. She wanted to see how Rajesh had progressed. When they met, Rajesh greeted her with confidence. "Hello, Margaret. It is so nice to see you again." Margaret beamed with pride. "Your English is amazing," she exclaimed. Rajesh felt a surge of happiness. All his hard work was paying off, and Margaret's encouragement had been his guide. As their friendship deepened, Rajesh found himself falling in love. One evening, under the same banyan tree where they first connected, he gathered his courage. "Margaret," he began, his voice steady, "will you stay with me? I want to learn more from you, and I want to share my life with you." Margaret was silent for a moment, then smiled. "Yes, Rajesh, I would love that." Their love story became a testament to the power of communication and connection. Rajesh's journey had taken a beautiful turn. Love gave him a deeper reason to learn, practice, and grow. Margaret's presence made English more than just a language. It became a bridge to happiness and fulfillment. As their story continues, Rajesh will face new challenges, but with renewed confidence. His dream to speak English fluently is no longer just his own. It is now a shared goal with the woman who believed in him. Love, like language, has no borders. Keep practicing, and your story could unfold like Rajesh's. Chapter 5. Learning on a Budget, Free Tools and Apps. Rajesh Kumar was now a man on a mission. His love story with Margaret gave him even more motivation to achieve fluency in English. But learning wasn't easy. He didn't have money for expensive tutors or fancy courses. Yet, Rajesh was determined to succeed. His journey to speak English fluently was about to take a creative turn, using nothing but free resources and a relentless drive to learn. Rajesh sat on his porch, flipping through Margaret's gift, a well-worn dictionary. While the dictionary was helpful, he realized he needed more to improve his English-speaking skills. "How can I learn without spending money?" he thought. The question felt like a riddle, and solving it became his new adventure. One evening, Rajesh's grandson showed him a mysterious object, a smartphone. "Grandfather, you can learn anything with this," the boy said, opening an app called Duolingo. The app's bright colors and simple interface intrigued Rajesh. "Is this my new classroom?" he asked himself, a mix of suspense and excitement. The idea of learning English through a device felt like magic. Rajesh dove into the world of free learning apps. With the help of his grandson, he downloaded tools like Duolingo to practice vocabulary and sentence structures, BBC Learning English for listening to clear English accents, HelloTalk to chat with native English speakers worldwide. "These apps are my free teachers," he thought. Each day, he spent 15 minutes on an app, treating it like a sacred ritual. Free apps can make English learning simple and effective, he realized. One day, while using HelloTalk, Rajesh received a message from a stranger named Emily, a woman from Australia. "Hi Rajesh, how are you?" she wrote. Rajesh's hands shook as he typed his reply. "I am fine. I am learning English," he wrote cautiously. The suspense of waiting for her response was thrilling. Emily replied with encouragement, "That's great. Keep practicing." Speaking with a native speaker felt like solving a mystery. Each conversation a step closer to fluency. Rajesh discovered another treasure, YouTube. He found channels dedicated to English learners offering free lessons. His favorites included videos on pronunciation and speaking exercises, stories narrated in simple English for beginners, tutorials on how to sound more fluent. Each evening, Rajesh watched a 10-minute video, pausing to repeat sentences aloud. YouTube is my new tutor, he thought, amazed at the endless free resources. With free tools, fluency is within everyone's reach, he realized. Rajesh developed a structured daily routine to maximize his learning. Morning. Use Duolingo to build vocabulary. Afternoon. Watch one YouTube video on English phrases. Evening. Practice speaking with a partner on Hello Talk. Consistency will make me fluent, he told himself. His plan transformed his journey into a disciplined mission to improve English speaking naturally. One afternoon, while shopping in the market, Rajesh overheard a foreign tourist struggling to communicate. Summoning his courage, he approached and said, "Can I help you?" The tourist smiled and asked for directions. Rajesh explained, using simple English phrases he learned from his apps. Though nervous, he managed to help. That was my first real test, he thought. The suspense of real-life conversations thrilled him. I can do this. Rajesh often practiced speaking with Margaret, using phrases he learned from his apps. What is your favorite food? How was your day today? Margaret encouraged him to try harder, correcting him gently when needed. These conversations became both lessons and moments of joy. Learning with someone you love makes it easier, he thought. Rajesh started using free podcasts to improve his listening skills. He downloaded episodes from BBC Learning English and listened while working in the fields. At first, the fast speech overwhelmed him, but slowly, he began catching familiar words and phrases. Understanding English is like decoding a mystery, he thought, thrilled by his progress. Listening daily improves fluency naturally, he realized. Some days were harder than others. Rajesh struggled with pronunciation, often feeling frustrated. Will I ever be fluent? He wondered. Margaret reminded him, mistakes are part of learning. Keep going. Her words renewed his determination. Every challenge is a step forward, he thought. Persistence is the key to fluency, he reminded himself. One evening, Rajesh sat under the banyan tree with Margaret, reading aloud from a short English story. For the first time, the words flowed naturally. Margaret clapped and said, "Rajesh, you're speaking fluently now." Rajesh felt a wave of pride and joy. His hard work, combined with free tools and apps, had paid off. Fluency isn't about perfection, it's about progress, he realized. Rajesh's journey showed that money isn't a barrier to learning. With free apps, online resources, and determination, he transformed his English skills. Each conversation, Each lesson brought him closer to his dream of speaking English fluently and confidently. In the next chapter, Rajesh will face new challenges, but with even greater confidence. His story proves that anyone can learn English, no matter their circumstances. If Rajesh can do it, so can you. Start your journey today. Chapter 6. Overcoming Challenges, Job Interviews, and Beyond. Rajesh Kumar's journey to speak English fluently had brought him far, but new challenges awaited. His progress was remarkable, but he soon discovered that applying his skills in high-pressure situations, like job interviews, required a different level of confidence. Each step was filled with suspense, self-doubt, and breakthroughs that tested his determination. One day, Rajesh's grandson came to him with a surprising plea. "Grandfather, I have a job interview in 2 weeks. Can you help me prepare in English?" Rajesh hesitated. The thought of guiding someone else made him nervous. What if my English isn't good enough? He wondered. But his love for his family and his desire to grow drove him to say, "Yes, I will help you. Teaching others will improve my fluency too," he thought. Rajesh knew they needed a plan. He wrote down common interview questions like, "Can you tell me about yourself? What are your strengths and weaknesses?" Together, they practiced every day. Rajesh explained, "Speak slowly, clearly, and with confidence. Fluency comes from preparation." His grandson repeated each sentence, and Rajesh corrected him patiently. Practicing daily builds fluency naturally, Rajesh realized. As they practiced, Rajesh noticed his own weaknesses. His pronunciation wasn't always perfect, and certain phrases felt awkward. He decided to improve alongside his grandson. He recorded his voice answering interview questions and listened to the playback. "Hearing myself is like solving a mystery," he thought. Each mistake became an opportunity to learn. Confidence grows with every practice session, he reminded himself. Rajesh decided to simulate a real interview for his grandson. Dressed formally, he sat at the dining table, holding a notebook. "Tell me about your skills," he asked in a serious tone. His grandson hesitated, but managed to answer. Rajesh smiled and said, "Good, but let's refine it. Say it like this." Each mock interview felt like a thrilling rehearsal, sharpening both their speaking skills. Mock interviews make speaking English confidently feel natural, Rajesh thought. The day of the actual interview arrived, and Rajesh's grandson looked nervous. "Remember what we practiced," Rajesh said, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Hours later, his grandson returned home, smiling. "Grandfather, I did it. They understood my English." Rajesh felt a surge of pride. His teaching and practice had paid off. Helping others improves your own fluency, he realized. Inspired by his grandson's success, Rajesh began using his English in more practical situations. He visited the market and negotiated prices in English, surprising vendors and tourists alike. "Can you give me a better price? I would like to buy this for less." Each interaction felt like an adventure, filled with suspense and satisfaction. Using English daily makes fluency second nature, he thought. One afternoon, Rajesh visited the post office to send a letter to Margaret. The clerk, a young woman, spoke only English. Rajesh felt a familiar nervousness creep in. "Can I send this letter to England?" he asked. The clerk asked follow-up questions, and Rajesh stumbled over his answers. Despite the struggle, he managed to complete the task. "That was difficult, but I did it," he thought. Every challenge is a step toward fluency. Rajesh realized that mistakes were unavoidable, especially in high-pressure situations. Once, he mispronounced opportunity during a conversation, and the listener corrected him. Instead of feeling embarrassed, Rajesh smiled and said, "Thank you for teaching me." He understood that mistakes weren't failures, they were lessons. Fluency is about learning from errors, he reminded himself. Rajesh created a list of tips for himself and others preparing for interviews. 1. Practice common questions. Repeat answers until they feel natural. 2. Use simple language. Focus on clarity, not complexity. 3. Pause when nervous. Take a deep breath to regain composure. 4. Maintain eye contact. It shows confidence even if you feel nervous. Preparation makes fluency possible, he thought. One day, a local school principal heard about Rajesh's journey. "Would you like to teach basic English to our students?" she asked. Rajesh was stunned. "Me? A teacher?" he asked. The thought filled him with suspense and excitement. After some thought, he said, "Yes, I will try. Teaching others will test my own fluency," he realized. Rajesh's first lesson was filled with anticipation. He stood in front of 20 children, nervous but determined. "Hello, my name is Rajesh Kumar," he began. The children repeated after him, and he smiled. By the end of the lesson, he felt confident. "I am teaching English," he thought with pride. Fluency grows when you share knowledge, he realized. Rajesh's journey had reached new heights. From helping his grandson prepare for an interview to teaching English at a local school, he faced challenges head-on. Each experience taught him that fluency isn't about perfection. It's about courage, persistence, and action. His story is a testament to the idea that anyone can speak English fluently with dedication and the willingness to step out of their comfort zone. If Rajesh can overcome these challenges, so can you. Keep practicing, and success will follow. Chapter 7. A Life Transformed. Sharing His Wisdom. Rajesh Kumar's journey to speak English fluently had changed his life in ways he never imagined. From a humble farmer to a confident speaker, his transformation inspired those around him. But Rajesh's greatest achievement wasn't just mastering English. It was sharing his newfound wisdom with others. His story reached its climax with a twist that no one could have predicted. Rajesh stood in front of his village's community center, heart pounding. He was about to deliver his first public speech in English. The crowd, a mix of villagers and curious onlookers, watched him with anticipation. "I am here to share my story," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. The suspense in the room was palpable. Could the once quiet farmer truly inspire others? Fluency comes with practice, persistence, and patience, he said, each word a testament to his journey. Rajesh's fame as an English speaker grew. People from neighboring villages came to learn from him. He organized free classes under the banyan tree where he had first spoken to Margaret. Start with small steps, learn 5 words a day. Practice speaking aloud, even if you're alone. His lessons were simple but effective, drawing students of all ages. Teaching is helping me grow even more fluent, he realized. One day, while teaching, a young boy handed Rajesh a letter. The envelope was foreign, the handwriting familiar. It was from Margaret. Rajesh opened it with trembling hands. Dear Rajesh, it began, I have exciting news. I am returning to your village soon. I want to see how far you've come. The words filled him with excitement and suspense. Her visit would be his ultimate test of fluency. News of Margaret's return spread quickly. The village elders approached Rajesh with a request. Will you give a speech at the festival in her honor? They asked. The thought terrified him. Speaking to Margaret was one thing, but addressing an entire audience, including English-speaking visitors, was another. Can I do this? He wondered. The challenge felt monumental, but he knew it was an opportunity to prove how far he'd come. Rajesh prepared tirelessly. He practiced his speech in front of the mirror with his family, and even with the children he taught. Margaret's encouragement gave me the courage to learn. Fluency is about connecting, not just speaking. He refined every sentence, ensuring clarity and confidence. The suspense of the approaching day filled him with both fear and determination. The day arrived, and the village square buzzed with excitement. Margaret sat in the front row, her eyes filled with pride. Rajesh took the stage, his heart pounding like a drum. Good evening, everyone, he began, his voice strong. Today, I want to share my journey with you. He spoke of his struggles, his love for learning, and the importance of persistence. The audience hung on every word, their faces reflecting awe and admiration. Fluency is possible for anyone who dares to try, he concluded, earning thunderous applause. As the crowd cheered, Rajesh noticed a man standing at the edge of the square, watching intently. The man approached after the speech and introduced himself as an education official. I was moved by your story, he said. Would you consider working with us to teach English in other villages? Rajesh was stunned. This offer was beyond anything he'd imagined. His journey had not only transformed his own life, but was now opening doors for countless others. After the festival, Margaret handed Rajesh a small box. This is for you, she said, her eyes sparkling with mystery. Rajesh opened it to find a ticket to England. You've taught me so much, Margaret said. Now it's time for you to see my world. The idea of traveling to England felt like a dream, one he never dared to imagine. This is my ultimate test, he thought, overwhelmed by emotion. The next morning, Rajesh stood at the village's edge, ready to leave for the airport. His family and students gathered to send him off, cheering him on. As the bus pulled away, Rajesh looked back at the banyan tree where his journey had begun. Fluency isn't the end. It's a beginning, he thought, excitement and suspense mingling in his heart. Rajesh's arrival in England was both thrilling and daunting. The bustling streets, unfamiliar accents, and fast-paced conversations felt like a new challenge. But he remembered Margaret's advice: don't be afraid of mistakes. Fluency grows with courage. With each interaction, Rajesh grew more confident. By the end of his trip, he was speaking fluently in markets, cafes, and even public events, proving that his journey had truly transformed him. Rajesh's journey had come full circle. From a farmer with a dream to a confident speaker inspiring others, his story was a testament to the power of persistence. His love for English, guided by Margaret and fueled by his own determination, had opened doors he never thought possible. As he boarded the plane back home, Rajesh smiled, thinking of all the lives he would continue to change. His story ended not with a period, but with a new beginning, a testament that anyone can speak English fluently with enough heart and effort. Your journey can start today. Take the first step and transform your life like Rajesh did. In conclusion, Rajesh's story proves that it's never too late to learn. With determination, creativity, and the right resources, anyone can master English. Whether you're a beginner or looking to refine your skills, let Rajesh's journey inspire you. Remember, fluency isn't about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to try. Ready to embark on your own journey? Start today with Rajesh's simple tips and resources. You, too, can improve your English speaking fluency and confidence, no matter your age or background. Let's make your dream a reality.